Okay, so we're going to discuss something today that I've seen more and more, common within the hobby, especially within the past year or so, and that's the scammers that are increasingly more and more getting onto belt pages and how to protect yourself and pieces of information I wish I would have gotten when I first started collecting belts. And it's weird how this kind of works out because there's another guy, another YouTuber, who just made a video on 5 tips when you get in the belt hobby. His name is Jason Presley. And I'm going to put his video up right here so you can see the title and see how you spell his name and all that. And it's a good video, a good pieces of information. So definitely check that out. Now, these two belts here don't pertain to the subject. I just happen to have them within arm's reach. I thought, the hell, it's a belt video. Might as well show off some belts. Shop plates, Adam Kelly leather, Richard Simpson stones, signed by Brock and signed by JBL. And then Jagu's plates, Mendoza craft leather. One of the top 5 belts in my collection. Don't ever expect to see that thing for sale because we spent quite a bit of time going over details as far as the tooling around the edge, the shade of the red, the snap boxes, the orientation, which order the plates go in, the whole 9 yards. So very, very happy with that belt. Speaking of Mendoza, thank you for the shout outs in your most recent videos about me sending you this phone holder. Let you go hands free. I'm glad I could help you out with that. So first thing we're going to talk about are used belts. And before we get into, I should say one more thing. I reached out to 3 people who remain nameless during the course of this video because I told them they would be kept nameless. I kept contact with 3 people while I was doing research and compiling stuff for this video that I respect very highly in the hobby. So this is not just me speaking. This is a collaborative effort, but I don't want them to get any heat with any makers or get them any heat on any belt pages they may have or may be on. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't mind people, saying shit about me, but you go after people that didn't really they didn't do anything. They didn't make the video. I'm the one making the video. You want to say shit to me? Go ahead. I don't care. So, first piece of info, the first piece of advice I would give is just sit back and watch. I know this is exciting for you. You just found out this is a thing. You realize that you've got probably a half dozen belts or so that you loved growing up, seeing on TV, and you want to get them, right? Or you also like some of the new belts that are out there now. I get that, but that's how you get taken advantage of. That's how you end up getting burned. You're better off to sort of sit back from afar and take 3 weeks before you decide to start making purchases and stuff, unless you're going through like WWE Shop or AEW's website or whatever, where you're getting the official replicas. That's fine, but just buying secondhand or buying from makers, I would definitely not jump in with both feet. I would take a step back and sort of observe things and who's posting a lot of their belts and who isn't. And that factors into my next point. If you see somebody posting a belt collection and you've never ever seen them post on that page before or in any of the pages, there's multiple pages. All of a sudden they just have a collection with 24 belts and you've never heard of this person, odds are you're dealing with a scammer. They have stolen someone else's pictures and pretending that those belts are theirs. They want you to send them money and then they send you nothing in return. That's typically what happens. Now, I have seen one instance where somebody actually scammed someone. They went out and got a box, went out and got a shipping label, and mailed it. And when the customer, the person who was buying what they thought was a championship belt, opened it up, what they actually got was a regular belt, like you would get from Macy's or Target to hold up your pants. So I have seen that scam happen too. I've seen that happen once. So I'm just saying, if somebody all of a sudden out of nowhere has a collection of belts and they're giving you a big discount, hey, everything must go, and I'm going through a divorce, or I'm thinning out the herd to make room for new belts, or my 11-year-old needs braces, or whatever the excuse is, don't fall for it. Another big thing that they like to do, and I'm going to put a photo up right now, they like to disable the comment section on their post. That is another one. So that way people can't comment in the comment section and call them out for stealing someone else's pics. So just know that. That's more than likely a scammer. So that's a scammer move, is to turn the comment section off. And also check how long they've been a member of that group. So let's say you see a post, and you could click on that person's name, and the name, before you get to their actual profile picture, there's an intermediate page where it shows how long they've been a member of the group and every post they've made in that group so far. And if they have only made one post and it's that one, and they've only been a member of the group for a couple days, I would say even less than 10 days, go ahead and assume that they're a scammer. It may be worth reaching out and messaging them, but that leads me to my next point. If you do end up engaging with one of these scammers or someone that you think is kind of shady, ask for a video of the belt. Ask for them to send you a video of the belt from snapbox to snapbox, from end to end, because they won't be able to do that if they don't have the belt in their hands. And to kind of relate this to something else, I know I talk about guitars sometimes in my videos, and it's because I've been playing for 17 years, so I've seen a thing or two when they use guitar market as well. And there's a guitar player, Joe Bonamassa. He's a great blues player. And he was buying a vintage guitar, and he told the person selling it they wanted like a wire transfer or something. It's like a mid-50s or mid-60s Fender Strat or something like that. And he told him, he said, before I send this wire transfer, you need to send me a photo of the guitar sitting there and the current day's newspaper with the date in view before I do this. So there's another fail-safe, is just tell them to get a current newspaper and set it down and take a photo of the belt with the newspaper. That'll let you know if they have it. Don't fall for that. I've seen this happen quite a bit, where it's a blank white piece of paper and it's got the name scribbled and it's got a date scribbled. That can easily be photoshopped. What they can do is they can take, like I can do this on my phone, is let's say I want this shade of red. I could go into my photo editing on my gallery. It's a Samsung phone, and there's like a little like magnifying glass looking thing where it can pull any shade within view. So it can get this bright red if it wants, it can get this darker red, it can get this white, and they take the corner of that piece of paper and put that magnifying glass over it, so now they've got the shade of the entire piece of paper. And they white everything out for whoever's name was actually on that, trying to sell that belt legitimately, and they fill their name in and they fill a date in. So those pictures of someone's hand with the name and the date scribbled, those aren't 100%. So you're better off going with a video or something that includes today's date on like a newspaper or something. So that's just one other thing that I want to throw out, talking about used belts. The next piece of information here, payment methods. So most deals I've done, because I only deal with people that I feel like are reputable, are done through PayPal, friends, and family. That's typically how people like to be paid, because they get the money instantly. There's no fees associated with it. And that's typically how people do things. But the problem is when you're doing a deal with someone you don't know, someone that you don't know if is reputable or not, insist on PayPal goods and services. Because, and they might put up a fight and say, well, it charges me a fee or whatever. Offer to pay the fee. Now they don't have that excuse anymore. Offer to pay that fee and see what they do. Because if they're legitimate, they'll send you a belt, they'll get their money, and life goes on. But the other thing is, if you use PayPal, friends, and family, if you use Venmo, if you use Zelle, if you use Cash App, there's no recourse for that buyer. That money is viewed as a gift, and once you give it to them, that's theirs. And if they decide not to send you your belt, you can't file a claim and get that money back. So it protects you to use PayPal goods and services because it eliminates that option. It eliminates that from happening. And one other thing, I had somebody in my comment section the other day tell me that a maker wanted to propose using a credit card. Send me your credit card information. I've been in this belt hobby a few years. I've never had to send anybody, a maker or someone who is like a secondhand, seller or whatever, had to use my credit card information or my banking information. Don't fall for that one. If they can't do business on PayPal, they're probably not worth your time. So that's all I got to say about that. Now we're going to get into the subject of makers, and it's going to make me take a damn drink. So it's going to be a doozy. I can tell my inbox is going to blow up after this one. All right, so this is where we kind of get in the weeds, and this is where I collaborated with those 3 other people who shall remain nameless, because that's what I told them. When it comes to makers, beware of the fly-by-night makers, the people that you've never heard of, that all of a sudden they've got all these belts in stock. Probably not going to be very reliable. Also, just know, if you get on a belt page, and we have some good ones. We have Championship Belt Brothers. We have Brothers of the Belt. We have Belt Masters. All Elite Belts. We have some of these pages where you can go and message an admin and say, hey, what makers do you think are reputable? Which makers do you think aren't going to rip me off? And they will point you in the right direction. Because if you go and make a post in that group saying, hey, I'm looking for a Winged Eagle, or I'm looking for an NWA TV title, who makes a good one? Your comment section is going to be flooded. And so is your inbox with every maker saying, inbox me, bro, I make great belt. I'm just telling you, you're a lot better off to just message an admin and have, or a moderator, or I've also seen a title called Group Expert, and ask them to send you or refer you to some makers that they think are reputable. That's going to be a lot less work to have to sift through, and you're probably not going to get taken advantage of. So, like I said, be wary and be careful when it comes to those fly-by-night makers that just pop up out of nowhere. So belt makers that I would say are reputable because of the experiences that I've had. I'm going to start with like F Club VK. I've had no problems with him. Now, the one thing with him is he'll tell you 30 to 45 days. You might wait a few months longer for your belt, but you are going to get your belt. Let's see, Jagu, who made these plates. He's a real good one about communication and keeping his customers informed, and you're never left out of the loop. The quality's there. I'm trying to think of who else. Mateen, ELT belts. I had good dealings with him. I've heard. Now I will say this. I've had some people in my comment section, and when I've shared the link to my video for my NWA tag, I had some people tell me some not so great experiences. So maybe he's gotten better here recently, or maybe maybe I just got lucky. But I've heard mixed things, but I had a good experience. X-Man belts, they do great work in terms of the customer service. They do great work in terms of making sure that their customers are informed. They hit their deadlines. You want like red croc backing or something on the back of your Big Gold, your WWE Big Gold, they'll do that for free. You want cubics, they'll charge you a little bit more, but nothing crazy. Stuff like that. So they're very good as far as consistency and their customers. Arosha belts and MW belts, those are both 2 great ones. I've never heard a bad thing about them in terms of they rip somebody off or somebody got a bad belt or anything. Those are two belt makers that I can recommend fully. Orm's another one. Back when I first got in the hobby, Orm was like a year-long wait. But from what I've been told, it's a lot less wait time now to get a belt from Orm. So if you message Orm Belts, they'll get you a price. They do great HD. Their leather is top-notch. So those are the makers that I can recommend just off the top of my head that I can remember buying from. I didn't buy my Orm belt directly from Orm, but I'm comfortable enough and been in this hobby long enough to recommend Orm. The ones I don't recommend fully, I mean, just would not waste my time. Number one, Mock Belts, MOC. Mock Belts is the most infamous and the most well-known makers as far as scammers and misleading people in the hobby. If you want to kiss your money goodbye, spend your money with Mock Belts. And I know that Mock Belts follows me on Instagram. I know he's probably going to see this video and click on it and come watch it. Hey, you know what? If you didn't do this type of shit to people, you wouldn't be talked about like this. So you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at yourself. So the next one, Thor Belts. I've seen multiple posts. I'm going to put them up on the screen now. Matter of fact, let me backtrack and go back to Mock Belts. People have actually created Instagram profiles and Facebook pages talking about their experience with Mock Belts. So it's not just me. I just want to say that, put that out there. There's a lot more people than just me that know the Mock Belts are full of shit. Back to Thor Belts. I'm putting posts up now of people I've seen do business with Thor Belts. A lot of empty promises, a lot of lip service, not a whole lot of results. I would not recommend doing business with Thor Belts, nor would I recommend Foreigner Belts. I haven't heard good things about them either. I haven't been burned by them, but it's because, like I said, I sit back and I watch and see what's going on in the belt hobby and who's got good and bad experiences with these makers. And that's what I consistently see people having bad experiences with. Same with SM Belts. They're another one that typically have more negative than positive reviews. Now I'm going to touch on two of them here. And these two are pretty well known within the hobby. I haven't had any bad experiences myself because I haven't dealt with them, but the list is pretty much out there of people that either get scammed completely or get overcharged or get sold a belt that looked different than what they were promised. That one specifically about getting overcharged and it looked different than the belt you were promised was JB Toys. From what I can tell, I wouldn't do business with JB Toys. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just saying I would. And the other one is Dave Milliken. Because everyone's going to go and look up Dave Milliken. Wow, he's made belts for WWE and he's made belts for this promotion. I think he made the first AEW belt, if I remember right. Here's the thing with Dave. Dave puts you on the back burner for up to 10 years. Because he's taken on so many orders that he collects your money up front. But then you'll be lucky if you get your belt. And not only that, but I've heard of people having to get the state attorney general's office in Tennessee involved to get their belt from Dave Milliken. And I just don't think it's worth the hassle. You know, if he just refuse orders. I mean, if you're that backed up, just refuse orders. Say, I'm not taking any orders at this time. I've seen leather guys do that. I can't fulfill any more orders right now. I'm shutting off orders. And when I get caught up, I'll start taking more. That's all he has to do. But instead, he's willing to take people's money and leave them hanging. And I've seen Better Business Bureau reports. If you just Google Dave Milliken scam or Dave Milliken con artist, you'll see a few links, probably some Reddit pages, probably some forums, talking about how he's not reputable. Matter of fact, I had a guy in my comment section on one of my videos. I'll try to find it before I upload this, telling me that my belt is a fake and it's illegal to produce, and you should go get one from Dave Milliken if you want a real one. And my reply to him is, yeah, go ahead and go order one from Dave Milliken. Let me know when it comes in. Good luck with that. So the reason I'm kind of cautious in using new makers, is because of this channel. So if I give someone my stamp of approval, I feel somewhat liable if they go to that maker and get treated like shit. Because I'm the one that stuck my neck out and said, yeah, you should use this guy. Which is kind of a learning curve in having this channel. Some YouTubers will use anybody as long as they get a belt. They don't care about what happens after to the customers that come after. It's not my problem type of thing. But to me, I get people in my comment section telling me that they had a bad experience with that maker. The quality wasn't there. The leather was shit. The snaps broke when the first time I snapped it together and then unsnapped it. The snaps came off. I've had those type of comments before. So I'm really careful about using new makers. just for that reason. Because when you're a YouTuber, you'll have makers throw themselves at you pretty much and jump in your inbox. And I could put screenshots up if I want to, but I really don't care to. Of makers wanting to make you a belt because A, they want to charge you for that belt, and B, they want the eyes on their product. They want the exposure that YouTube brings. And I get that. That's a business move. But I need to see enough from people that don't have YouTube channels and their experiences with these makers before I'm going to stick my neck out and say, yes, I ordered a belt from them, and yes, you should too. Because they might roll out the red carpet for me and say, hey, this guy's got a YouTube channel. Hey, let's make sure his plating is good. Let's make sure the paint work isn't sloppy. Let's make sure the leather's cut right. The edges are burnished. The snaps are good. Let's make sure, it's nice and floppy leather with good backing and all that. And, okay, I get a nice looking belt, so I go ahead and give them a glowing review and say that they're reputable and you should do business with them. But then what happens when you go to buy a belt? See, that's the flip side of this coin. So I'm very careful in who I do business with, especially this past year or so, using new makers. So my point is, the reason why I'm saying this is, if you're a maker out there who has jumped in my inbox and has not gotten your message read or hasn't gotten a response, there's a reason why, and I'm just going to tell you, you need not apply. Don't bother flooding my inbox on Facebook or on Instagram trying to sell me a belt. Because if your work is that good, a lot of other people would be buying your stuff and giving it an endorsement and telling their positive stories of dealing with you. And it would be worth my business and it would be worth me endorsing you on this channel. So I just want to put that out there. If you're a maker that thinks that the way to get on my channel is to message me first, that ain't how it works. I'll let you know if I want one of your belts. So that's all I got. Hopefully these tips help you out. Hopefully you guys don't get burned in this hobby. It's a fun hobby. It's an obsession, addiction at times. I've got 3 belts on the way. I just checked one of them this morning. It's being held in customs in Los Angeles. Hopefully that clears up. It's a used belt. Then I've got 2 belts coming directly from Pakistan that should be finished up here soon. I think my last video I said they were probably about 3 weeks out from being done. Hopefully they're about 2 weeks out from being done at this point, but updates have looked good. They're reputable, so I'm not worried about it. But until then, I'll just see you guys on the next video. You guys go ahead and take care.